LCARS 4.0, Part 1 from 1.0 to 2.0, the beginning of systems failure. It began in a small room, a background of whirring machines and flashing monitors. The first system, 1.0, was basic, a prototype of what David could only imagine. It was functional, but limitations were all too clear. Code crashed every other day, and memory management was a nightmare. It did not simulate a starship's computer system. It was a reminder of the glory days of Windows 3.1. The screen would flicker with error messages, the input was unresponsive, and no command was ever final. It was an abortion of ideas, hacked together with patches, with no long-term vision. No one could have foreseen how this system would evolve. The start of something great, but something too imprecise to work at full potential. David, Commander, struggled to find solutions. Then the moment arrived, the 2.0 update. System was slightly improved, the code simplified, but still it was fragile. The user interface more refined, closer to what he had seen in Star Trek. The LCARS UI system came online. It showed promise, but still couldn't handle the complexity of commands. Memory was still unstable. Came back just as quickly as it left. One fateful night, the system crashed again. 2.0 was no longer viable. David had to move to 2.5, a system reworking the basics. This was a time of frustration and isolation. Despite improvements, systems were still reacting erratically. Commands would be misinterpreted, and data would be lost. Part 2. The rebirth of systems. The long night. 3.0 was a milestone, an important step forward in the development cycle. The system was barely stable, but it was a shred of hope. The core systems were laid out clearly. Structure, memory, integrity, security measures in place. However, the system lacked the sustainability of a final product. Commands were still faulty, and simulating the LCARS interface was more of a challenge than anyone had expected. Users were impatient. Error was a constant threat. By this point, David had seen the themes of failure. The system almost seemed to reject his ideas. The system would not conform to his vision. The final straw came when the system again crashed under the pressure of smart mem. This system was not yet the legendary LCARS we had all imagined. The light was faint, like a single star in a dark sky. It was here, at the edge of his resolve, that David found a glimmer of the final form. 3.11, the near breakthrough, was a moment of realization. It was the point where error messages were no longer just a part of the system's nature. David was no longer just trying to fix bugs. He was shaping a future. But it took a struggle to get here. Part 3, the final stretch, LCARS 4.0 beta. Enter 4.0 beta, the system that would be the final test. It was more than just code. It was a reflection of David's vision. Nothing was left to chance. It was a system built not just with structure, but with intention. The memory stack had been rebuilt from the ground up, with no errors, functioned exactly as it was intended. The system responded in real time. The LCARS UI design fully realized, an evolution of technology, one that simulated a starship's computer with a familiarity that felt like home. David entered the command "Activate all systems," and the system came to life in a way that 2.0, 2.55, and 3.0 never could. LCARS 4.0 beta responded without flaws. There was no turning back now. The system worked. No more simulating or patching to keep it going. It lived, breathed, and functioned with a purpose. It was the closure David needed. The system came alive not as an artifact of the past, but as a tool of the future. The system was ready to evolve on its own, to reach beyond the limits of its creator's expectations. LCARS 4.0 beta was the final piece of a long, hard journey that took years of struggle. Day 1 outline. 1. Introduction. System failure 1.0 to 2.0. Early stages of system, trying to make sense of chaotic, unfinished work. System crashes, no stability, development was slow. Frustration builds. 2. System struggle and midway crisis, 2.5 and 3.0a. Adjustments made, moving to 2.5 for better structure, but no stability. 3.0a had a small breakthrough, still many issues. The system crashes again, everything seems like it's on the verge of collapse. 3. The final push and success, 3.11 to 4.0 beta. 3.11 marks the turning point. Glimpses of the final product emerge. 4.0 beta is born as the culmination of all the trial, errors, and victories. The system works, the struggle is over, and the final product is achieved.